third and final race here at Croft Circuit for the Super Cups, and we have Jack and Luke down in 4th and 5th position. Now, there's a handful of points separating them at this moment in time, so I reckon it's going to be down to who has the better start. So Andy, it's going to be over to you.
Yes, Lindsay, the start will be crucial here, but I think we're going to see lots of shuffling over the whole 20-minute duration of what is going to be a pivotal round of the 2018 Mazda MX-5 SuperCup. Here's how they line up with a reverse grid, of course, for this one. So Simon Baldwin on pole with Will Stacey alongside, Aidan Hills, Jack Harding, row 2, Herbert down on row 3 with race 1 winner James Blake Baldwin. Lewis Carter and Richard Wickham miss out on the reversal on the 5th row, ahead of Carl Garnett and Nick Dunn, then Christian White and Darren Stapleton on row 6. Row 7 for Gary Townsend and Alec Livesley, with everybody else filing in behind, all the way down to the likes of Johnny Greensmith on the 12th row of the grid, hoping just to get to the end of this race really, after a pretty disappointing weekend so far. So, 2 points separate Jack Harding and Luke Herbert. There are now 4 races to go. This race is going to be a really, really important one. If Jack Harding finishes in front, he extends the championship lead. If he's behind, he could lose it going to the finale. The lights go out, we're away and racing for the last time here at Croft, and it's even Stevens between the front row men, then Simon Baldwin and Will Stacey. Jack Harding just easing Luke Herbert onto the grass there, I think, coming down in towards the first corner, but Harding is up the inside for 2nd place, and Herbert is behind him, so Jack Harding has managed to keep Luke Herbert at bay in the early stages of this race, but they're both making their way towards the front. Herbert goes 2nd, Herbert goes 4th, Harding goes 2nd, and they are separated by Will Stacey. Aidan Hills over the curb through the chicane, and on the run down towards Tower Corner for the first time. How has this all settled out? It looked as though it was Simon Baldwin still leading the way. We're on board with Luke Herbert, we're up the inside line there, and around the outside is going Aidan Hills. Now, we've seen Aidan do this so many times this year, trying the high, wide and handsome line, and it's worked. He's got himself ahead of Luke Herbert, and he's got the inside line for the entry to the Jim Clark S's. So it's Baldwin from Harding from 3 abreast for 3rd place. That was very close indeed, and Luke Herbert is getting involved in all sorts of action that he does not want to be a part of. The leaders head towards Barcroft, but it's all about the fight for 3rd place, and somehow Herbert comes out of that still with 4th place, and going for 3rd has to settle in behind Will Stacey. It's Aidan Hills on the outside line who ended up losing out there, despite initially looking like he was about to gain a couple of positions. He ends up down a couple of places further back. On board with Jack Harding, we're going for the race lead. We're around the outside of Simon Baldwin going in towards the complex. The championship leader trying to get to the front of the field. Oh, there's contact between the two of them. Baldwin is off, and Jack Harding, well, I think he locked up on the inside line there, and Simon Baldwin, unfortunately, was elbowed out of the way. Now, there may well be a discussion about that post-race, but for the time being, Harding has got himself the race lead now. We heard him say to Lyndsay after race 1 that he felt that if he could get to the front, he had the pace to win this race. Well, time to put your money where your mouth is, Jack, because you've got the race lead, you've got a car between yourself and Luke Herbert. Now is the time to try and pull out a gap at the front of the field. So Jack Harding leads the way at the end of lap 1, Will Stacey 2nd, Luke Herbert 3rd, Aidan Hills is in 4th position, and James Blake Baldwin is now 5th, ahead of Carl Garnett, I think, who was into 6th position. On board with Herbert then as he chases down the leading 2, but Will Stacey staying with Jack Harding here, very much so, and Jack is going to have to defend the race lead down towards Tower. We heard Luke Herbert saying after the first race of the day that there is quite a strong toe here this weekend. It's very, very blustery at Croft this afternoon, and so if you're driving into a headwind, then that exaggerates the aerodynamic benefit of a slipstream, so that's keeping everybody very closely bunched together, and it's going to make life difficult here for Jack Harding. He wants to pull away and have an easy time of it, but when do you ever have an easy time of it in this championship, especially given how closely matched he and Luke Herbert have been all season long? So, down through Sunny they go, and Jack Harding's on the grass. Oh, I don't believe it. Jack Harding, the race leader, making a mistake and allowing Will Stacey up the inside line. So Jack Harding there. Now, did he hang on to the race lead? That's going to be the question. We're on board with Colin Bikes out here, who's running a bit further down the order. But what is going on at the front of the field? Did Jack Harding just throw away the race lead that he's worked so hard to get all weekend, really? This is the first time he's been out in front, and he very nearly threw it all the way down at Sunny that time around. Back with Bysouth here as he works his way through. Well, back with the leaders. Oh, and it's all changed again because Harding is still leading, but look at James Blake Baldwin. He was 4th last time we saw him, and he's now into 2nd place. So James Blake Baldwin into 2nd, Stacey 3rd, and Luke Herbert's down in 4th. So when it looked as though maybe Herbert was about to gain out of all of that, he ends up losing a spot and is now a further place behind the championship leader. So out of the right-hander at Hawthorn they will go. So at this rate, Harding would score 100 points, Herbert only 94, so the gap would go out to 8 points, which will be about as big as it's been all season long if we threw the checkered flag now. The good news is we're not going to do that for another 15 minutes or so. We have a 6-car lead train descending upon Tower Corner. It's the championship leader who's the race leader at the moment. Can he stay there? There is Luke Herbert, 4th position, the reigning champion, with it all to do in this race at the moment. Richard Wickland is the guy who's joined on the back of this group now, so 6 cars as one, or near enough as one. In fact, the top 4 just detaching themselves slightly now as they work their way through the Jim Clark S's. And Jack Harding leading the way from Blake Baldwin 2nd, Stacey in 3rd, and Luke Herbert maybe having a look at the inside. No, can't do it, goes to the outside instead. Still can't find a way through. So young Will Stacey, who prior to this season was racing and winning in Lotus Racing, and is now for a one-make single sports car championship to another, racing in the Mazda MX-5 SuperCup to great success early on in the season. But looking for that 2nd win, in fact still looking for his 2nd podium here. Time to on the podium was that victory at Silverstone at the start of the year. So at the moment he's looking to double up on podium finishes if he can stay in front of Luke Herbert. That's going to be easier said than done though. Work their way back out of the hairpin. Aidan Hills and there, Richard Wickland, who we saw last season throughout the middle portion of the year, was threatening to go and challenge for race victories. We haven't seen a lot of him this year, but in fact I think this may well be Richard's first outing of the season. And Richard Wickland in the grey number 76 car is having one of his best showings in recent memory in the MX-5 SuperCup. He's on the tail of Aidan Hills. He's in 6th place at the moment, looking for 5th as they work their way back out onto the back straight again. So, as is often the case when we get to this part of the season, it's all so tense, isn't it? And right now, Jack Harding is looking well set to take some points out of Luke Herbert, but is that going to be the case when we get to the end of the race? There is just so much potential for things to change, and all of a sudden, every move that's made takes on extra significance. And again, as is so often the case, it's drivers who aren't actually part of the championship battle that are going to have an influence in this, because James Blake Baldwin and Will Stacey, they can't win the championship, but they are between the 2 drivers who can. And if James Blake Baldwin goes for a move on Jack Harding, maybe if there's been a contact, or if Harding ends up out on the dirty side of the road, then that could completely change the championship picture. So Jack Harding has to race everybody equally as hard, because one loss of position is still going to cost him points. It could still potentially put him back in the clutches of his rival. Now this could also have a bearing on what happens in the championship. This was the contact between Harding and Baldwin. You can see that Harding, he's on the inside line, which is the dirtier side of the road. He's on cold tyres as well, just locked up the brakes and sort of slid into the side of the number 16 Blink Motorsport car. And there'll definitely be a discussion about that after the race. Whether or not any penalties are applied, we'll have to wait and see. In a way, we hope not, because we don't want this championship to be decided in the stewards' room. We want it decided out on the track. Herbert in 4th place, attacking Will Stacey here as he goes around the outside into turn 1. What a move that was. So Luke Herbert goes into the podium positions. I don't know what happened to Will Stacey there. He suddenly seemed to slow as he came across the start-finish line. Didn't get a good exit from the hairpin. He's trying to fight back though towards the chicane, but Luke Herbert, having none of it, turns across the nose of the 192 car and moves into a podium position. We can see the time they lost to the leading 2. Something strange happened to Will Stacey there. Maybe a missed gear or something down the pit straight, but either way, it's cost him a podium place for the time being, and it's gained 1 position and 2 valuable championship points for Luke Herbert. Out of Tower Corner they go, back along the stretch towards the Jim Clark S, isn't it? It's Herbert this time that runs a bit deep into the grass. Head up through the left, through the right, back out towards the fastest part of the circuit now at Barcroft, which they negotiate flat out, then hard on the brakes into Sunny. And they've sort of paired off now, 2 for the lead, 2 for 3rd, 2 for 5th, and I think even 2 cars fighting for 7th place a bit further back. So they were all as one a few laps ago, but the man to watch really here is Luke Herbert, because he's in 3rd place, he's in that all-important clean air. He really needs to try and close in on these leading 2. Through the complex they go. Jack Harding, for the time being, doing everything he needs to, but James Blake Baldwin, who you know won't care one bit about the championship fight going on around him, he's just out for race wins and good results to round out what's been a disappointing season in some ways for him. Luke Herbert there gesticulating to Will Stacey, saying let's work together, because if we keep fighting then the top 2 are going to get further ahead, and I think that the top 2 are working together here as well. You see Baldwin was tucked right up behind Jack Harding as they went down the pit straight, so it looks as though there's a bit of tactical driving going on now in this middle portion of the race. It make their way back through the chicane again. One car of Herbert in that third position. There's the fight for fifth, Aidan Hills and Richard Wickland. I did spot they were side by side coming out of the hairpin, but Richard obviously wasn't able to make the move stick. He stays in line in sixth place. The toe though down towards the hairpin. These two definitely not working together. They are very much fighting for position, but then I suppose they've nothing really to lose for fighting for positions. At the points, Aidan Hills is now 38 points off the championship lead, and whilst mathematically it's still possible for him to beat Jack and Luke to the title, it's not likely to happen. And so in a way, Aidan Hills also just out to try and have a good strong finish to the season. Back down through Croft comes the third place battle, the all blue affair, the blue car of Luke Herbert, the blue car of Will Stacey, circulating only a car length apart. Now, are they catching the leaders though? That's the question. If they are, it's very, very small amount, and you can see that they're not particularly working together here, because Luke Herbert felt the need to move over to defend then into the complex. That means he goes into the left-hander on a slightly tighter line than he usually would do, and so to avoid running wide and being offline for the right-hander, he has to slow down a bit more through the corner. That's why defensive driving, whilst it's important to keep the cars behind you, of course, to keep them in their place, it does hold you up and slows you down through the corners. So defensive driving, whilst necessary to keep position, not necessarily the quickest way around the track. No defensive driving here. Jack Harding is fairly comfortable in front of Blake Baldwin for the time being, but he must be expecting the attack to come at some point. Blake Baldwin isn't going to just settle for second place, I don't think. He's going to want to try and take the victory, but he realises that it's in his best interests not to start battling just yet, because that gives the two cars behind ample opportunity to close in. Blake Baldwin needs to make sure that he's got the biggest possible gap behind him before he really starts to hassle Jack Harding. And Jack, well, no, doesn't feel the need to cover this time either, so the attack not yet coming from Blake Baldwin, who continues to be latched onto the rear bumper though of the AK Automotive car in front of him. Towards the Jim Clark S's they go again. This very daunting sequence of cars. The nice battle developing behind. Look, it looks as though the two pairs of cars that were fighting for 5th and 7th respectively are now sort of joined. So you've got Aidan Hills, Richard Wickland, Carl Garnett and somebody else in that group, all starting to get themselves quite close together. As the third place battle makes its way back through Sunny again. The yellow flag's out. There's a car off, and there's another car off at Clairvaux, and that's the number 93 car of John Stack who's gone off. Now this could require a safety car. There's another car off there to the right. Now, that's one of the Clapham North livery cars. I can't quite tell whether that's George Grant or Nick Dunn, but one of them has pulled off to the side of the road, coming out of Sunny. It could in fact be Bradley Kent. Yes, I think it is. It's Bradley Kent, the number 38 car, the other Clapham North livery car. So Bradley Kent, the younger brother of TCR racer Lewis, is off, unfortunately, on the inside. Now, he appears to have pulled off, but John Stack has gone off and embedded himself into the gravel trap at Clairvaux. Now, we saw in race 1, when we had the off for Nick Rutter at the same place, that required a safety car. Is this going to require another safety car? If it does, it will bunch the field up together again at the front of the field. Here's what happened, and, well, unfortunately there for John, there's no one else to blame. There was no one around him, so unless something broke on the car, that was self-inflicted off into the gravel trap, unfortunately, but no damage done. That's the main thing. John will be able to rejoin, and yes, the safety car has been scrambled, so this, as they say, changes everything, because just as in race 1, when the leading two had pulled out a nice big margin over everybody else, it allows the rest to close in. And it's ironic, isn't it, that in this morning's race, it was Herbert who was running in the lead battle. He was running in second at the time, who had this big gap over Harding in third, and that, of course, was all lost because of the safety car. Well, now it's the other way round. It's Harding that's lost out. He was leading the race. He and James Blake Baldwin had this healthy buffer over Luke Herbert in third, and that healthy buffer now is eradicated. The only saving grace for Harding is that he does at least have a car between himself and Luke Herbert, but Luke is not going to want to miss out on this opportunity. There's Steve Roberts working his way through, the number 56 car. Steve, of course, who had that mystery issue at this part of the circuit in race 1 when he was looking good for a top 5 finish, and unfortunately the car slowed. It did pick back up again, and he finished on the lead lap, but down in 16th place, and that's another driver for whom certainly the second half of 2018 promised much, but has delivered very little. That one victory that he had at Castle Combe, which was then immediately finished by followed by his car being written off in race number 2. He's had 3 podium finishes this year, Steve, the former BMW Compact Cup champion, but in his second year of MX-5 SuperCup racing. Things haven't quite gone to plan. The good news is, though, that he has come back, because immediately after Castlecombe there were some doubts as to whether he wanted to come back and race in the championship. It's great to see him back. I'm glad to see that he is still in love with the championship, despite maybe the way that it's treated him slightly roughly over recent races. And good to see that Steve is out there and continuing to enjoy even his racing. Well, the lights are off on the safety car. It's a brief safety car interlude. We are going racing again this time. Stand well back, everybody, because this could be about to get very tasty indeed. Jack Harding leads the race, leads the championship by 2 points over the man who is third in the race, number 1, Luke Herbert, and between them is one of the most committed drivers in the championship, James Blake Baldwin, who doesn't care one bit about their battle. He's just out for a race victory. What's going to happen over the final third of the final race of the weekend here at Croft? The green flag is out, we're away in racing once again, and they launch down towards Clervaux Corner under green flag racing conditions once more, and it's a good restart made by Jack Harding. He's pulled a few car lengths, in fact, over James Blake Baldwin. It's arguably the biggest gap that he's had all race, but with the effect of the slipstream down particularly the 2 long straights at the start of the lap here at Croft, you can't imagine that's going to stay that sort of a gap for much longer. What is happening here, though, is that Luke Herbert is applying the pressure to James Blake Baldwin. Now, this is good in some ways for Jack Harding, because it means that Blake Baldwin's attention is directed more to what's going on behind him than it is to try and to overtake the race leader. But it's bad, because if Blake Baldwin loses this place, then it will be Herbert who's right on turns with his big championship rival. Down into the braking zone they go again. They've all got back together again anyway, as I suspected might happen with the slipstream. And so 3 cars as one for the race lead, and James Blake Baldwin weaving this way and that, trying to attack and defend at the same time. Which way does he go? He goes to the outside, but there's no way through. Jack Harding really has to be careful here. If he lets one through, they'll both come through, surely. Luke Herbert will be determined to try and make ground up here. Down towards the braking zone at Sunny. The leading 2 go in very tight. Herbert goes in wide. I thought for a moment he was going to try and get the wide in tight outline, but he didn't really judge that right. Ran a bit too deep under braking, and so now has to work hard to close in on them again. It's all kicking off for 4th position. Look, Aidan Hills, and where's Will Stacey gone? Will Stacey appears to have disappeared, so unfortunately Will Stacey, who was looking for a top 5 finish, is no longer there. Look, because Hills is 4th, from Wickland 5th, and Steve Roberts into 6th place. So Steve Roberts is carving his way up the order after this restart. Great stuff here from the number 56 car, but there is no sign of Will Stacey that I can see of inside the top 10, so something's happened to the young Rob Boston racing driver. Richard Wickland, though, into the top 5 and could yet get more, because he looks a bit quicker than Aidan Hills. Leaders down towards Clervaux, and James Blake Baldwin tries to move up the inside of Jack Harding. He was too far back, though, and had to back out of it. Can't afford any more contact, any more disciplinary action. He needs to try and keep things clean for the final rounds of the season. Forward to 2019 as the year that he can try to take the title. Of course, he was the 2015 champion with James Blake Baldwin, but he's not yet been able to retake the title since then. Down the hill we go. Jack Harding leading the way, defending the inside line again. James Blake Baldwin trying to go to the outside. Now is this going to open the door for Luke Herbert maybe to take advantage? Luke is right back with them. He's a bit sideways on the way into Tower Corner. He gets the power down. He tries to get up the inside of Blake Baldwin, which he might have done. James Blake Baldwin waving at him, waving at him. Where are they going to go? Is he waving him through? Surely not. No, I didn't think he would be. He was maybe just gesticulating at Luke Herbert that he ought to back out of that particular manoeuvre. Down through Barcroft they go again. Harding leading the way. Second is Blake Baldwin, and here comes Herbert. Herbert up the inside line for 2nd place, and he's going through a brilliant manoeuvre at the same corner that he made a mistake at a lap ago, but he didn't lose any confidence under the braking there, did he? He was straight up the inside of Blake Baldwin, and he's into 2nd, and more importantly, he's on the tail of his championship rival. Down towards the complex they go. So as things stand now, there would be 4 points between them, because James Blake Baldwin at the moment, as he did in race 1, has set the fastest lap. Will Stevenson's in the barriers. I think that's down at Sunny. There was another car involved which appears to have rejoined. In fact, I think they're both going to rejoin, which is good news, so no need for another safety car, because we do not want to put this race on ice. This is heating up very nicely indeed, with Jack Harding under immense pressure now from Luke Herbert behind him. Luke weaves to the outside, weaves back to the inside, back to the outside again, as Jack Harding doesn't know which way to go here to try and defend the race lead, and this is so important. Imagine the pressure on Jack Harding's shoulders now, because he knows the significance of this. If he can go to Donington Park with a 4-point advantage advantage, that is a heck of a lot better than going there tied on points maybe, or even behind Luke Herbert. You always have that slight advantage, I think, psychologically going into the final round as the points leader, and that is what Jack Harding wants, but he's really having to get his elbows out now. Drives down the inside of the road into Tower. Herbert on the wide line in, trying to carry the speed out of the corner down towards the Jim Clark Essex. He didn't quite get up the inside though, and so Harding fends him off once more. Now we're into the part of the circuit where in race 1 we were commenting on how quick Jack Harding was. Is he going to be able to use that pace to pull away from Herbert this time around? It doesn't look like it so far. Luke is still right with him, looking to the outside into Croft again, trying to get up the inside down towards Sonny, which he might be able to do. Luke Herbert goes for the race lead, he's up the inside, and contact is made. They're both out wide. Blake Baldwin may go through into the race lead, but Harding's on the grass. This is an absolute disaster for the championship leader. He's down into 4th position now because Richard Wickland's gone through as well. Well, it had to happen. They've raced each other so cleanly all year long. There was a gap up the inside, there's no doubt about it, but neither was ever going to give any room, and there was contact made. Harding out in the weeds, and now Luke Herbert is in prime position to take the championship lead. Harding's off again, he's off wide through the complex. He was fighting away with Aidan Hills there. Aidan Hills was up the inside, but he manages to fend Aidan off even, so 4th place is where Jack Harding finds himself as we come across the start-finish line down towards turn number 1 to start the final lap of what has turned into a dramatic final race of the weekend here at Croft. Luke Herbert is in 2nd place. James Blake Baldwin has snatched the race lead, and Richard Wickland is looking for a podium on his return to the championship. But keep your eye on the man in 4th place, because the red mist will well and truly have descended now for Jack Harding. If things finished as they are now, he would lose the championship lead that he's worked so hard all weekend long to keep hold of. Down the back straight they go for the final time. Just over half a lap to go. There is a car between the 2 championship contenders, and it's Luke Herbert in 2nd place, in prime position to take the points lead. Blake Baldwin looks as though he's got the race win more or less in the bag now. Herbert's on the grass coming out of Tower Corner. Now Richard Wickland, another driver who's not having to think about championship points here, he is well entitled to go after Luke Herbert here and try to challenge him for 2nd place. But as they battle for that 2nd position, look who is coming. Jack Harding is right there with them now. Jack Harding, could he possibly get back to Luke Herbert? Well, first of all, he has to get past Richard Wickland, which he does. Jack Harding up the inside, there's more contact. Wickland out wide this time, and Harding's back into 3rd position. 3 corners to go, and Jack Harding could yet get back to Luke Herbert. We're on board with Harding. Down towards the complex we come for the final time of asking, and he will be desperate to try and repay the favour here, I'm sure. 2 more corners to go now. He can't get there yet. It's all going to boil down to the hairpin. Once again, Blake Baldwin's going to take the victory, but what's going to happen behind him? Defensive line for Herbert. Harding goes in wide, cuts back to the late apex. He's up the inside line. They lean on each other out of the corner. Drag race to the start-finish line. James Blake Baldwin wins the race, and Luke Herbert sensationally beats Jack Harding again to 2nd place. But there will be words after the race for sure. That was very physical stuff. But Luke Herbert it is who finishes ahead. So James Blake Baldwin with the victory. 2nd place goes the way of Luke Herbert, and Jack Harding 3rd. They will be tied on points going to the final round at Donington Park. Fantastic. It was Richard Wickland and Steve Roberts who rounded out the top 5 ahead of Aidan Hill, Simon Baldwin, Carl Garnett, Nick Dunn and Christian White. What a race, and what a championship finale we're going to have at Donington.
So after race 1 being cancelled, you seem to have dominated this weekend here with 2 first trophies.
Yeah, that's a great achievement, isn't it? No, I'm really pleased with that. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that with a reverse grid, starting 6th on the grid. But no, I mean, Blink Motorsport gave me an amazing car to do the job with, so can't thank them enough, really. And it all sort of played into our hands, really.
So you're still coming back for Donington?
Yeah, no, we'll be there. We'll be there to fight the last round and give these boys a run for their money. Sadly, we can't win the championship due to circumstances earlier in the year. But yeah, I mean, it's looking good.
It seems to be a repetitive field today. We've just had James come first, and now you'll come second again. Is there a secret?
I was trying to win, but you know, it's so close between us 3 at the top. It's just a shame that James got an exclusion, was out of the championship, because or else it'd be a 3-way battle at Donington. As it is, it's me and Jack. We're on level points going in, so yeah, it's going to be close. You know, I mean, there's nothing between us. So yeah, it's going to be a tough 3 races.
So you're already planning straight away to what's happening at Donington?
Yeah. Going to have to check the car over. The car needs to be perfect. I've got a bang coming from somewhere, so we've got to find that, because we couldn't find it for that race. But yeah, we'll go there and give it our best shot. If we can win it 3 times, we'll do it. If not, you know, second, it's been a great year to come second. So, yeah, great.
It has been non-stop drama here at Croft Circuit this weekend, but unfortunately it is now coming to a close. We're going to have to look ahead to Donington, where the championship is going to come down to the wire. So hopefully we'll see you there.